Now, for the latest on the New York City train derailment, which killed 4 people, U.S. investigators said Tuesday that an analysis of data indicated that the brakes appeared to be working properly. The National Transportation Safety Board said it examined data from each station stop around the route, and there were no anomalies in brake performance. Meanwhile, alcohol tests conducted on the engineer came back negative. Other substance tests are still pending. Reportedly, a union official now says the engineer caught himself nodding off at the controls moments before the crash. Investigators expect to finish interviewing him on Wednesday. Joining us on the phone is former Federal Railroad Administration official Steve Ditmeyer. He's an expert on a new rail technology called positive train control, or PTC, that could help avoid train accidents. He's also currently a professor at Michigan State University's Railway Management program. Welcome to Arise America, Steve. We do appreciate your time.
I'm glad to be with you.
One of the things that came to light during this latest episode, and Metro North has had a string of episodes of accidents over a certain period of time, was that this perhaps accident could have been avoided had there been a system in place, an automated avoidance system that perhaps would have slowed this train down, even if the operator wasn't aware of the danger coming. So tell me, would that system have helped in this case?
Yes, this new train control system called positive train control would have prevented this train from crashing. It would have prevented the train from exceeding the speed limit, both on the main line before the curve and on the curve itself.
So give us an idea of how this works. How does the PTC work?
Positive train control systems consist of, first of all, a digital data communications network. The locomotives are all equipped with positioning system, GPS. The train communicates its position in real time, its position and speed, over the digital data link system to the control center. There are computers at the control center and computers on the locomotive. The control center sends movement instructions to the train that tells it how far it can go and how fast it can go. The locomotive, from the GPS system, knows where it is along the track at all times, and it knows what speed it's authorized to go and where it must stop. If the system, the onboard computer, senses that the engineer is not obeying the instructions, the computer can override the engineer and either, as appropriate, slow down the train or stop it.
It almost seems like a no-brainer. Of course, Congress ordered this system to be installed across the country after a freight train and a passenger train collided head-on in Chatsworth, California back in 2008. And of course, this system has not yet been installed. Well, they had till 2015 to get it installed up and running. And many companies, many organizations, including the MTA here in New York, have asked for extensions. What is the reason for the pushback against this PTC?
Some railroads just feel that they are not prepared to implement the system as rapidly as others. There are other railroads, however, that say that they will meet the deadline by the end of 2015. BNSF Railway, out in the western half of the country, already has PTC operating on a couple of subdivisions and say that they will meet the deadline. Metrolink, the commuter railroad in the Los Angeles area, has already done demonstrations for the press. They are proceeding with the implementation of it and say that they will meet the deadline at the end of 2015. The Alaska Railroad has said it will meet the deadline, and Amtrak in the Northeast Corridor, which has a slightly different version of PTC, has also said that they anticipate meeting the deadline.
And I want to ask you a two-part question, two different things, but in the same question, and that is, as I understand it, the cost is quite high. Is it not prohibitive? And how reliable is the system? You've mentioned a few places where it's in operation, but of course it's only as good as all the technology that it takes for it to work all together.
Right. The technology, I should point out, is basically the same technology that the Federal Aviation Administration is implementing as part of its next generation air traffic control system. Data link communications, GPS, onboard computers, control center computers. There have been tests of PTC in the past. My old railroad, Burlington Northern Railroad, had tested PTC for 5 years in the early 1990s, and it worked. The system, the technology is reliable. The National Transportation Safety Board felt that sufficient testing had been done to put it high on their list of recommendations. I should point out that railroads and unions and federal agencies had all agreed many years ago that the safety benefits alone would not justify the cost of positive train control. It is an expensive system. However, again, depending on how railways implement the system, it is possible to get business benefits from this continuous real-time information on train location and speed.
Right. I'm going to have to jump in and interrupt you because we're completely out of time. But Steve Ditmeyer, I do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Still to come on Arise America, why plastic guns appear to still be off limits in the United States, and how private-run prisons may be good for the bottom line, but not for inmates trying to rebuild their lives.